What is up, guys? As you may know, I'm not the type of person to upload content where I speak seriously, where I talk about issues, dramas, all that. But do you know what? I just feel like making a commentary video since, you know, um, my online life has changed a lot. A lot of stuff has happened and I just kind of want to discuss it with you guys, and I thought, why not, since I'm starting a new chapter in my life, why not give you guys a little rundown of my life from 2020 to now. I'm on about my online life. I'm not going to tell you guys much about my personal life because I'd much rather keep that private. So yeah, let's get started. So I won't tell you guys much, everything in the greatest detail, unless it's a big moment that changes stuff. So, in the beginning, I got my PSVR. You guys may have seen videos in my channel, in the earlier days of this exact channel, where I filmed Rec Room content and only Rec Room content, and that was because I only had a PSVR. And my favorite game at the time was Rec Room, like many other VR players back in that time. So, I booted up Rec Room, played. I had a lot of fun. I felt like I was in the movie Ready Player One. If you guys have watched the movie, you'll get the reference. It felt like the Oasis. I freaked out, bro. I was tweaking. I'm like, I have unlimited access to this virtual reality. It's amazing. And then around 2 months after I started Rec Room, I was live streaming my gameplay, and then some guy who went by the username Fluttering Mule entered my live stream. He told me his username, and then I friended him. And yeah, long story short, we had a great time. And then this was my first ever online friend. So me and my friend Climothy, I'll call him that for now. We were, you know, the only people who played Rec Room together. And then Fluttering Mule entered the scene, and all three of us got along really well. Climothy is my real life friend, by the way, and I've known this guy since I was about 6 years old, and he's still my friend today. He's an absolute legend. Climothy, if you're watching this, I respect you so much. You're an amazing friend. Anyways, um, Climothy ended up getting bored of Rec Room, and then we saw him less. So it was only me and Fluttering Mule, who I may accidentally slip up and call him Shark Boy because that's what he goes by now. Um, like around 2022, he changed his name to Shark Boy, but this is still 2021. Me and Flutter and Mule played Rec Room a lot, and then we ended up getting people who would enter my chat regularly, and I decided to end up friending them. So enters MNVR. Don't know if she still goes by that. I don't even talk to her anymore. And then a guy who called himself Asian VR. So then this is when the friend group began. It was just me, Emin, Asian, and Fluttering Mule. We would play a lot, and then Emin eventually would introduce us to her friend Zarin. And then a few other people entered and left the friend group. Like they'd come and go, probably come play with us for a week and then go. I I don't really remember anyone else at this time. At least they were not that relevant, but this was the core friend group, us four. But then not too long later, around end of 2020, Asian would end up leaving the friend group. And then Fluttering Mule would become slightly more distant, so I'd only really hang out with Emin and Zarin. Their names kind of rhymed, funny. I think there were a few other people who were part of the friend group, but I don't really remember them, so it means they were not that important, which is kind of sad. But then a guy called Unknown entered the friend group, and I ended up speaking to him about it around 2023 when we ended up becoming friends again, but he doesn't really remember much, but he does remember playing with us. But he acted like he was around 12, which was my age in 2021. But secretly, this dude was 8 years old, which is kind of funny. I don't know how we caught on. He was kind of mature for his age. No groomer, no Diddy. Um, yeah, so we would play a lot. That was kind of the main friend group that I remember. And then along came a guy called Poorman. if you guys watch my videos from 2023, you will know who Poorman is. He was my best friend in 2022, 2023, but we weren't really that close at the time, but he was part of the friend group. He was there. And then entered a guy called Decart as well. Decart, I actually speak to him today. I spoke to him last night. We were on a call before I fell asleep. Decart, he's an interesting guy. So this was the friend group. And then, I don't know, around halfway through 2021, I ended up ditching an old YouTube channel of mine that was, to be honest, kind of cringe. Um, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Decart, please do not leak it, or bro, I swear to God, I will fucking crash out at you. Um, this is when I started the I Not Joshua 13 account, or maybe it was 2022. I don't really remember. I think it was late 2021. 2022 is when I really, really got into Rec Room. I started making games and stuff. It was fucking peak. This was my favorite moment in VR. I, to be honest, had no life because I got bullied at school and a lot of my friends left me. Um, oh wait, in 2021, there was a guy called Sausage Roll who joined the friend group and then left. And then also, I forgot, bro, I forgot a lot of my online friends. I'm such a bad person. I think a guy called Wawa joined. I remember him being kind of funny. He was actually really innocent of a person. Yeah. Um that's all I can remember from 2021. It was a blur, but bro, 2021 was so much fun. 2022, I remember at one point I got COVID, and then this is when I had like a huge change moment. I ended up deciding to lock in on being a Rec Room content creator, but I would scrap a lot of videos, bro. It was crazy. I would make videos, I'd like big them up, and then I'd end up deleting them from my PlayStation. It was kind of funny, I can't lie. Um, yeah, that's all I really remember from that point. Uh, I got COVID. I turned 19 today to hang out with my American friends more because I was friends with a lot of Americans. Oh yeah, at this point Zarin disappeared and then Emin would be kind of less active. So it was mainly me, Poor Man, Sausage. I think Sausage Roll left as well, actually. Me, Poor Man, and Wawa, really. And then people who would come and go as well. Uh it was what? I might it was an interesting moment. Um I'll probably play some clips on screen. Anyways, I ended up staying up till the Rec Rally update because I was so hyped up about cars coming to Rec Room and shit. Like, I literally stayed up until 4 a.m. And then once the update launched, I literally restarted my VR and I was like one of the first people to play Rec Rally. I remember not sleeping that night. I was so buzzed to drive cars in VR because remember, Rec Room was like the only good VR game on PlayStation VR. I fucking grinded that shit, bro. And then I ended up never playing it again, really. Like, I'd have the odd moment where I'd play it. And then this was when Squid Game was being hyped up, but I was stuck in my room with no access to Netflix. So oh my god, my mic. So I fucking watched so many movie clips to get an understanding of Squid Game. And then guess what I did? Since I was like, I don't know, as bad as fucking EA, I ended up, since I had Rec Room Plus, I ended up making a Squid Game, like a shitty Squid game, and I made so many tokens off of it. It was disgusting. I was such a scammer, bro. Guess what? I ended up deleting the game like a month later. Crazy shit, crazy shit. And then, here, oh yeah, and I was a huge fan of Security Breach. I remember before Security Breach released in 2021, I made like a Security Breach fan game where I was guessing how the game would be, which is kind of funny. I forgot to mention that. And then when 2023 came around, oh yeah, Unknown stopped playing around the beginning of 2022. Never saw that guy until 2023. This is when I ended up making a Security Breach fan game. Well, a Security Breach roleplay where I would take people's inventions, their hard work, and then make profit off of it. I was so fucking lazy at this point. I had a passion for making games. I'd like make everything from scratch. But then at this point, I was just wanting to get visits because this is when Rec Room started kind of having its downfall. It was becoming really competitive. Like people didn't put passion into their projects, and I was fucking money hungry. I was getting my fucking grubby 14-year-old fingers on every FNAF Security Breach invention I could get my hands on. And then I ended up making everything cost like 80 tokens, except from the original Glamrock. So you had to pay 80 tokens to be a staff bot. You had to pay 80 tokens to be Lolbit. You had to pay 80 tokens to be my fan-made animatronic. It was mental. But I had so much fun, and then this is where Unknown returned as Sleepy. And me and Sleepy became like real tight. Me and Sleepy became real tight, and then Poorman stayed friends with us. This is where what the fuck? This is where Wawa started disappearing. So it was just me and Poorman and Sleepy. And then this is where Emin disappeared as well. Like she just randomly come back for a week and then go away forever. Um so yeah, me, Sleepy, and Poorman were best friends. We were real close. And then oh yeah, in 2022, I met a guy called Casper, and then he'd play like all of 2022, but 2023 he disappeared as well. I still speak to Casper every so often. We kind of have a moment where we're friends for like 2 weeks, and then we'd stop speaking. Like we're still friends. There's nothing wrong with us. It's just we kind of have phases with each other. If you guys get what I mean. Um, and then my real life friend Balfy, who is my best friend of all time, like this dude is a goat. I'll link Balfy's YouTube channel in the description because I think he's trying to get a following because he's thinking about making a comic series. So, if he uploads anything, then please support him, guys. He's a real cool person. Yes. So I think that's us all caught up. So let's continue with my history. Me and Sleepy. Oh my god, I'm fucking sick of this microphone. Right, me and Sleepy, we ended up meeting two people called Junie and Ash. Junie was the little brother, Ash was the big sister. Sleepy kind of had a crush on her. Um, yes, so Sleepy had a bit of a crush on Ash, and I really hope he doesn't mind me saying that, because he doesn't anymore. He's not like that. Um, the friend group had a bit of tension during that time, but this is way before it. So you guys may recognize my video called Why We Won't Join the Military. It was kind of chaotic. Oh yeah, and then Poor Man wasn't really a huge fan of Ash for some reason. Probably because he was jealous that she was like taking his spot because I was best friends with Sleepy and Ash, and then, Poor Man kind of didn't like that, so he disappeared for a bit. And then Balfy, he would like sometimes play Fortnite with me, Sleepy, Ash, and Junior. Um, it was a good time. I kind of missed like Rec Room and all that, but we had a Fortnite phase. We played a lot of Fortnite. It was a lot of fun. And then drama kind of started happening. Emin returned, and she didn't like Ash either. And then she ended up making up a story about Ash, and then I believed it, and then I was kind of pissed off. Then she was like, yo, I kind of like Ash. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you kind of like Ash? Didn't you fucking hate her? And then she ended up like somehow turning the story on me. So there was like this conflict between the friend group. Me, Balf, and Poor Man versus Junior, Sleepy, Ash, and Emin. I was like so pissed off, bro. She fucked me over. And to this day, whenever, well, not really to this day because she stopped speaking to me, but like in 2024 when we spoke, like a year after it happened, she would just go silent every time I mentioned it. It was bullshit. I don't even know what her motive was for doing this. It didn't make any sense, but she put her own words in my mouth, and I really did not appreciate that. So this conflict went on for about 2 weeks, but then I ended up DMing Ash on TikTok, I think. And then I ended up telling her what happened. And then she ended up saying dead ass. I for some reason remember this part. And then she's like, hold on, go in rec room. She unblocked me, we friend each other, and then we like sat down and had a conversation. And then we ended up confronting Emily. And then she disappeared again once, whatever the fuck happened, foiled. And then that was the last I saw of her for about 6 months. Poorman ended up getting closer to us again, and Balf kind of began to disappear. And then Junior, he stopped playing. He didn't really have much interest, and I kind of feel bad for him because I met him first. And then when he introduced Ash, like, that's when we kind of ignored him. I feel bad. I feel bad for Junior. Do you know, I'll actually DM him on TikTok that I made this video. This is my apology to you, Junior. I'm so sorry, man. Um, yeah, so the friend group kind of stayed stable for a while, but Ash started to disappear, and then this is when I got my Oculus in like Christmas 2023. Sorry, this was 2022. This happened. Um, 2023 is actually when I got my Oculus, and then I ended up dilly-dallying with my Oculus for a bit. And then this is when I quit Rec Room because the game started sucking. So now it's just me, poor man, and Sleepy again. And then I end up going on to uh wait, I think I missed something else in 2022. This is how I met another one of my best friends, Boaz. Um During the Fortnite phase, I also played a bit of Fall Guys. And then, I ended up like streaming it a lot, and then Boaz ended up playing with us because I met him on Roblox in a Backrooms game, and then I thought he was, being friends with me for clout because I said I had a YouTube channel in the game, but it turns out he didn't actually remember that. He just thought I was cool. So I felt flattered, and then I added him on. Well, I told him my YouTube channel. I didn't add him on Discord, and then he ended up going into one of my streams, and then he asked us to play with him. So I added him, and then he spoke in voice chat. Bro, this guy's voice was so squeaky. I thought he was around Sleepy's age. Turns out he's a year younger than me. Yeah, we played Fall Guys. It was chill. I ended up sending him a friend request on Discord because I thought he was real chill. Um, yeah, it was sound. And then uh, he became an online friend. So I forgot this part. Uh, yeah. Anyways, back to 2023. I got my Oculus. Me, Sleepy, and Poor Man played a lot. Then I got VRChat. I made a few friends on it. It was sound. And then we ended up starting TSP. The Superstar Pizzaplex. I remember Poor Man introduced me to a guy called Spider-Man JM. And then Spider-Man ended up inviting his big brother McCarty. Um, so yeah, I had a blast with these guys. We made TSP. We ended up meeting a guy called Catastrophe when we all decided to play Freddy's Pizza Day in VRChat. Um, he he wanted to join the roleplay, and we were desperate for actors, so we let him in. But it was kind of a big mistake. This dude was a total weirdo. I ended up meeting a guy called Boopa the Woopa as well, who I randomly added from somewhere. I don't really remember where. But we told him about TSP and he wanted to join, which was interesting because I thought he was like too cool for us or whatever. But turns out the dude just had good taste, but still had a childish side in him. So, TSP, yada yada. There were a few people who joined the cast. There was a guy called Master of Puzzles, but he's not that important. Neither is a guy called Glamped. I don't know. Glamped and Sleepy are the only TSP cast members that I still speak to now. I don't really like McCarty because he was really pushy, and to be honest, he didn't really give a fuck about any other character development. He just wanted the character he played to be all strong and cool and stuff. He did not listen to my plot ideas. Poorman, I'll get to later. Fucking sorry. I keep on coughing. Poorman, I'll get to. Spider-Man, I don't actually mind Spider-Man. I think he's pretty cool, but you know, him and McCarty are brothers, and it's kind of awkward. Yeah, it's complicated, but I don't really speak to any of these people anymore for reasons. Master of Puzzles faked his death. Hoopa, I don't know, I didn't really like him. Alfster, he just kind of ghosted me. Yeah, there's a lot. Anyways, TSP started midway through TSP. My birthday came around in 2023, so this is when I got my gaming PC. And then one night when I was about to sleep, someone who added me on Rec Crew messaged me, and I got the notification on my mobile app. I ended up opening it, and there was a guy I recognized. His username was Happy Oyster. He was one of the people who came and gone during 2021, I think. His name rang a bell, so I continued messaging him, and I'm like, I remember you. Weren't you called Paper Labs on YouTube? He was like, yeah, man, that's me. This dude was like 2 years younger than me, but bro, when I ended up talking to him, I for some reason thought he was older than me. Keep in mind, my voice was still squeaky at this point. We ended up realizing we both had gaming PCs, so I added him on Discord, and then I told him I'll talk to him tomorrow. I ended up kind of ghosting him the next day because I was busy. And then the day after that, I ended up saying, right, so what games do you play? And then we played Roblox together, and then I thought he was real cool, so I decided to play more games with him. We played SCP Secret Laboratory. I remember we had a huge SL phase. It was crazy. I remember one time I went to a family dinner, and then Happy Oyster messaged me. Oh yeah, at this point he changed his name to Taco. So Taco messaged me, and then he was like, yo, you trying to hop on SCP Secret Laboratory? And I'm like, oh, fuck, let me finish my dinner and then I'll run home. So I ended up borrowing my mum's keys after I finished. And then after a boring chat with my family, I'm like, right, time to go home. So I ended up running home because the restaurant was like a 5 minute walk away from my home. My old house. I live in a new house now, and I'm not near anything. We're in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, ended up running back to my house. Then I hopped on SCP Secret Laboratory. It was so funny. Uh, we continued TSP. I started using my PC for a few videos. Then we finished season 1. And then we started season 2, but we only did 2 episodes. Then I lost complete motivation. So I would upload a few random videos, but I ended up getting in touch with McCarty, Spider-Man, all of the cast again, except from Master of Puzzles and Glam T. And then we decided to start season 2. It was real fun. And then we finished season 2. Master of Puzzles returned at this point, but then he disappeared after season 2. And then, yeah, I think I ended up just doing some gaming content and stuff. I made a few Gorilla Tag skits, and this is when 2024 came round. So I still speak to Taco. I think. Wait, hang on. Let me just pause recording. Okay, so um, towards the end of 2023, I have a confession to make, guys. Please don't make fun of me, but I'm pretty sure you know I like Skibidi Toilet. I fuck with the series hard. I might have cosplayed a cameraman from Skibidi Toilet on TikTok, but it made me a lot of friends. But most of them I don't really speak to anymore. But I made friends with a guy named Toppy. He was called PED Maker at the time, but I refused to call him that because it spells out ped, and it makes him look like a pedophile, even though this guy is like 14 now. Um, I was 14 at the time still, and then I cosplayed a cameraman because the Skibidi Toilet hype was just beginning, hopped on that train, got no views because people with shittier cosplays than me got better attention somehow. The internet just hates me. I've never been famous. People with shittier content, shittier whatever than me somehow still get more followers. I don't get it. Anyways, I'm still kind of mad about that. So, there's a guy called Justarandomcostplayer who's a pedophile, but at the time we did not know. I joined his Discord server, and then I never really talked there, but one day he announced he was deleting his server. I remember this was like 2 months after I moved house. I was like chilling watching Walking Dead with my mum, and then I saw people advertise in their Discord servers. I quickly advertised mine. A person called Titan Hunter joined. I don't really speak to him anymore. And then a person called Kitty joined. A person called Irene joined. Just a random cosplayer himself joined, but we were friends. So, I was expecting that. They all joined. My server came back to life. There were a few more people, but I forgot them. Uh, Kitty, Irene, and Titan Hunter, they're kind of important. I would talk to Titan Hunter a lot. Kitty, I would speak to sometimes. He ended up inviting his girlfriend called Princess. And then, Princess would actually speak to me. She was quite chill. And Titan Hunter would speak to me too. Titan Hunter and Princess were best friends. Kitty and Titan Hunter were best friends, but Irene, she wasn't really close with Titan Hunter. She was close with Kitty, though. I don't really remember the full beef, but I think Irene and Princess were friends. I don't really know much about what happened between them, but they ended up kind of beefing sometimes, and me and Poorman were really confused. Boaz was kind of active in the server, so was Sleepy, because them three were my best friends. I don't really remember much about what happened, but one day me and Princess were DMing, and then she randomly sent a message saying, "Oh, I wish you were my boyfriend instead of Kitty," and then she deleted it, and I got real confused. Um, I don't really want to know I don't really want to talk about what happened next, but Princess and Kitty ended up breaking up, and yeah, Irene and Princess started beefing a lot, but yeah, I think Kitty found out that she was into me or something. I don't know. I don't know. But Titan Hunter, Kitty, and Irene all ended up leaving my server. I kicked Irene because she was saying racial slurs, but Kitty and Titan Hunter left themselves. It was confusing. So we moved on. I ended up, oh yeah, at the time I was making the War for the Island movies, like the remakes, because we made War for the Island movies, but they were real shit. in 2022, but War for the Island Remake and War for the Island 2 were released at this point, and I'd say they're alright. I'm proud of War for the Island 2. And then I ended up making plans for War for the Island 3, and then this is where I stopped speaking to Poorman, because he ended up getting really angry, like, oh, we're always making War for the Island, but no TSP, because we were planning on making season 3. And then he ended up like getting real mad and he had a crash out. I don't even know what happened, what caused him to do this, but at this point, my grandma recently died and I was not in the best state of mind. Like, I think she actually died 2 days before this happened. I was planning to make War for the Island 3, but then she died, and my parents actually told me she died on live stream. I think I took the live stream down. I'll try find the clip, but I was playing Roblox with my real life friends, and then my parents called me down, and then I was gone for half an hour, and I came back up. My parents were on call, and they were like, "Oh, Joshua, where have you been, Joshua? It's about time." And they were like taking the piss, but I got real pissed off, and then I just said, "My grandma died," and then I left VC. So this was like 2 days after she died. I was still not in the best state of mind. But poor man stupidly thought to come to the server after a week of silence, because we halted plans, and then my grandma died literally the day we planned on making more plans. The poor man came in and he started having a crash out. Like, I don't know why you keep on doing this stupid new series things. Why can't we just continue what we already have started? And then he ended up like making fun of my older bits of content, and then I just fucking went ballistic, because poor man, during 2023 he was not the best friend. During TSP he would always start arguments with people and then peer pressure me into defending him, because poor man knew that I really didn't want to lose him, because Sleepy and him were like my only friends from the OG days at this point. Because, Poorman's stuck with me since 2021, I think. 2021 or 2022, I don't quite remember. Sleepy stuck with me since 2023.
Hmm.
Boaz came in 2023, but, Sleepy's technically a 2021 friend. So Poorman knows that I don't want to lose any old friends. So he would like kind of manipulate me. He'd say, I won't be your friend if you don't back me up. Like, he'd start beef with new friends that I make, and then I'd have to defend him. Like, this dude would manipulate me. So at this point, I took a moment to think, like, poor man, he has been manipulating me for years, like 2 years at this point. When has he ever actually done anything for me? When has he actually cared for me? It's always me doing things for him and caring for him. So I could feel myself fucking shaking in anger. I was holding my phone, I was squeezing it, and I'm not fucking kidding. I squeezed it so hard that my phone's screen protector cracked, because I was like pushing my thumb down so hard, and then the fucking protector cracked. I could feel like my eyes tearing up, because this dude was taking the piss out of my dead grandma and everything. And then I just fucking went ballistic on him. Like, I reflected on literally everything with him. I literally said that if I could, I would beat the shit out of him. Like, I was giving this dude all the threats. And I think I think I might have called him the N word or something, but I deleted it quickly, regretting it immediately. But he ended up like posting TikToks of our argument and shit before I banned him from the server. And then that was it. We weren't friends anymore. For like 2 months straight, he would upload screenshots of our private chats, accuse me of things I never even done. He would accuse me of like grooming him and shit. And I'm like, bro, I'm 2 years older than you. Calm down. And yeah, it was kind of stressful because my fucking grandma died, bro. And then all of that happened. I just I don't know what the fuck is wrong with this guy. So, after he eventually took down his TikTok account, I think it was because we ended up exposing him. Like, we uploaded pictures of his face, shown that he was talking to who he thought was an underage girl. Like, I'm talking, this girl was 11. She was 11 years old, bro. And this guy was 15. And I know it's not that bad, but it was kind of weird, you know? The dude was a year away from being 16. Oh, yeah, at this point, it was 2024, I think. We ended up doing this because Poorman did it for most of the year because my grandma died in March. We stopped being friends in March 2023. Oh, wait, actually, let me check the video real quick. Let me go to my YouTube channel because when this video was made is around when the poor man beef happened. Let me find it. Hold on, hold on. Wait, no, sorry. This is 2024. This happened because in the end of 2023, I met Princess. um, sorry. I'm finding it. Yeah, yeah. My grandma died in March 2024. Sorry, I got the years mixed up. I keep on thinking 2023 because a lot of shit went down in 2023, but actually, March 2024, my grandma died, and all this happened. And then at this point, I met someone called Astro, and she was 12, but we told poor man that she was 11. And then the dude would like groom her, kinda, you know, he would try to convince her to do things for him. It was real weird. And then we ended up exposing that. We exposed his face. We exposed that he lied a lot about me. And then he ended up going silent. And then a week later, his big brother DM'd me saying he called the police on me and reported me and all that. And then I ended up explaining to him everything that happened because poor man obviously lied. And he was like, oh, all right. But still kind of messed up for, you know, doing all that. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's a little extra. I'm sorry. But literally, he was the one who was in the wrong. And then he obviously still didn't like what I did, but he realized that his brother was not all innocent. So, you know, that was that. I was anxious for a few days, but it turns out he didn't actually report me, but he was gonna. But, you know, he ended up not doing it. So, halfway through 2024 rolled around, um, Princess, do you know, I'm not gonna say what she changed her name to now because I'm pretty sure she wouldn't appreciate me saying that she online dated. And then 2024 came round. I ended up making new friends. Let me list them now. I ended up making friends with. Oh, okay. So in 2025, in the very beginning, I ended up making a channel called Very Odd Gamers. Oh wait, actually around April I made it. And then the squad consisted of Astro, Boaz, me, Sleepy, and Ryan, because I made friends with a guy called Ryan, I think actually around March, because I would do TikTok live streams and then he ended up joining them. He was pretty cool. Oh yeah, sorry, in the beginning of 2024, I also made friends with someone called Sam and Dreamy. Well, Dreamy was called Candy Cane at the time. But I don't know, I didn't really like Sam because I ended up realizing that being a Therian was kind of weird. For some reason, I defended it, but maybe Loki because I thought she was chill. But, you know, I ended up changing my mind and I stopped speaking to her. And then also, I realized she was kind of like lying a lot. she wasn't really being real with us. So I stopped speaking to her, but Candy Cane still spoke to her, but then she ended up kind of realizing, hey, oh, this Sam person's kind of weird. So she became friends with me again. And then that's why I introduced her to my friend group. And then, as I was saying, around March, April-ish. Actually, I think April, sorry. I think around April, because it would have been around summer, I ended up making VOG. We had, fucking hell, like 12 members, but members went down real fast. So we had Taco, Sleepy, Boaz, Dreamy. I mean, sorry, Candy Cane, but she ended up changing her name to Dreamy at some point. Phoebe, a guy called Crunchy, who I met from my live streams as well. Ryan. Fuck, there were so many people, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, there was also a guy called Starlight, but at the time he was called... I fucking forgot, actually, I'll just keep calling him Starlight. Yeah, there was a lot of us. And then, you know, I think Crunchy was the first to leave, but then Phoebe, she ended up getting real weird. Oh yeah, this is Astro, by the way. Phoebe, she just kind of got annoying, but I suppose that's because she was a 12, 13-year-old. I don't remember. I think she was still 12 at the time, and we couldn't really tolerate her, so I tried to, like, making her dislike me, but it didn't work, so I just straight up told her to fuck off. And then every so often she'd come back and, like, DM us, harass us, sort of thing. Just like Poorman. But we ended up getting rid of her. And yeah, that's it with her. Oh yeah, Princess, she joined the squad, but she ended up leaving because she's actually doing real good now. She's less chronically online, which is good, and she's busy with real life, but she's going through a lot of boyfriends. It's kind of getting concerning. But I hope all is well with her. Yeah, so that's all I really did. Very odd gamers for the entirety of the year. So that's why I didn't really upload content on this channel during 2024 much. And then came 2025. This is probably my most interesting year. So I was getting real sick of school. So I was planning on leaving at the end of this year. Like school year, I'm talking. So let's just call this year S5 because that's what it is in Scotland. Don't know what grade it is, but just search up Scotland S5 and then figure out what it was in grades. So I was 16. I was sick of everyone in school harassing me. And it's still 2025 now, obviously. I ended up leaving school in March. So in the beginning of 2025, me and Dilbert did a lot. I mean, Casper, sorry. Me and Casper did a lot of VRChat trolling. Yep, a whole lot of it. And then I ended up meeting some more people because... Oh wait, actually no, this takes place after school. Yeah, so during 2025, not much happened. I got more into biking. We trolled on VRChat a lot. I made a few friends from it, but I don't really speak to them anymore. VOG ended up coming to its end. And then, guess what? Something magic happened. I left school. Oh yeah, I left school. And then I ended up hanging out with my real life friends a lot, but I picked up SFM as well. Oh yeah, and then also during February 2025, I started making a lot of Minecraft servers and I met two new friends, SCP and Scabowie, I think I pronounce it, but I call them Steve a lot. Yeah, I ended up meeting them. They were chill. Uh, did I meet anyone else? I don't think so. Someone called... What the fuck is her username now? I have no clue, but let's just call her Lulu. She came and gone. And then I stopped speaking to Toppy as much. And then, yeah, as I was saying, I left school in March. And then I hung out with my real life friends a lot and I picked up SFM. And then two people randomly friended me on Steam. Their users being Ghost and Velocity. And then they introduced me to their friend group. Sorry if I cough a lot or my voice, fucking hell. Sorry if I cough a lot or my voice starts getting weird. It's because I'm speaking a lot without much breaks. Like the only breaks I take are when I pause and then I swallow a lot. Anyways, so they introduced me to their group and it was interesting. I met a guy called Sonar. He's real chill. Uh, I speak to them a lot now. I speak to Pyro sometimes, but Velocity not much. I joined their group for about a month, and then I witnessed it all come to shit. But halfway through that, I met another person. I shall not mention them because we're not on good terms anymore, like really not good terms. But I respect this specific person because at least she, like, maybe the way she treated me was real unfair, but I respect that she was not that bad when I confronted her. But I joined their group as well, and then me and Taco, who is now called Zushster at this point, we hung out with them a lot. They ended up becoming like our best friends, and we like kind of left Boaz and Sleepy and all that for them. Also, during the end of 2024, I stopped speaking to Ryan that much because he's kind of gone weird on me. I can't lie. Like he stopped speaking to me as much, and he would just kind of I don't know how to say it, but he would like passively aggressively ignore me, and I just felt kind of offended. So I was like, right, fuck you. And to this day, I still don't really like Ryan. Um, yeah, so that's the end of Ryan. There's literally nothing to do with him beyond 2024. And Starlight, I would still speak to him at this point, but not as much. And to this day, I still don't really speak to Starlight, except from the odd time where we'd play No Man's Sky or Helldivers. But Zushter would play it as well, so I'd like kind of speak to Zushter more in the VCs. Yeah, so I ended up joining their friend group, and then me and Zushter kind of left Boaz and the others. And I'd still speak to Pyro and his friends. Let's just speak to them because a lot more happened with them at this point. So, Velocity was kind of corrupt, and he would punish people on the server for the stupidest reasons. And then Sonar, he would come to me kind of concerned a few times because Velocity would just crash the fuck out and then ban someone from his server because they'd like make a joke or something, bro. It was worse than North Korea, I swear to fuck. I mean, like, the corruptancy is worse than worse than North Korea. Sorry, I'm like struggling to speak. I've been speaking for over 48 minutes because, you know, pauses and stuff and retakes. It's fucking mental. Anyways, Velocity's corruption was like worse than North Korea or Russia, I swear, bro. Like you'd say something and he just fucking ban you or time you out. It was mental. And Pyro seemed to just follow along. Like Velocity was clearly the brains, and then he'd kind of peer pressure Pyro into doing stuff. Oh yeah, Ghost changed his name to Pyro. Um yeah, it was a annoying time. And then Sonar was really the only person who I could speak to who wouldn't like relay the information to Velocity or Pyro. And there was also DJ. who claimed she was a guy, but the entire time she was actually a girl. Don't know why she did that. It was interesting. Yeah, so I eventually ended up corrupting no, fuck. I ended up confronting Velocity because I was the only person who had the balls to do it, but also that's because I was new. So Velocity wasn't really my friend. Like, he was my friend, but then once I discovered who he truly was, I didn't really like him. And we had some passive aggressive. I think I need to take a break. I'm struggling to speak now. We had some passive aggressive tension. Like, we both didn't really like each other, but we wouldn't admit it, if that makes sense. We silently agreed to not get along. So, one day, I pinged Velocity and Pyro to join a VC, and then literally everyone joined and muted. And then me and Velocity just fucking duked it out in VC, bro. I was telling him everything that I thought about him and everything that I heard from him. And he just sat there and took it. And then he ended up deleting his Discord server, making a new one. I joined it, but we didn't really talk. Well, I didn't really talk on it because I didn't like him. And then I kind of stopped speaking to all of them for a bit. I got closer to CEO again. I should probably take that out. Okay, I cut out the part where I mentioned her username. Anyways, I got closer to this friend group again that I shall not refer to because I don't really want more drama with them. I want nothing to do with them. I just feel sad whenever I think about them, really. I'll reveal later what the fuck they did. Anyways, I got closer to them again. Sonar ended up coming back to me saying that DJ was a girl and now they're dating. And I'm like, oh wow, good for you, man. Because he was complaining about not having a girl. Anyways, enough about that. I ended up speaking to Bojo a bit more and the others, but they kind of. Oh, sorry, yawning. They kind of got closer to Ryan, Sleepy, and Bojo. So me and Taco kind of became like best friends at this point. And then we ended up speaking to this friend group again. But there was just something off about them. They felt kind of like they were treating a certain someone in a way. Who am I kidding? This certain guy will not watch this video. Um, I'll probably. I don't know. I'll I'll just not. Anyways, they end up treating this certain guy a certain way. I'll list a few people who are in this friend group. There's TMF48, who I was a huge fan of until I met him in VC. This guy, he's kind of immature, but we ended up beefing because, of course, I would mock him and stuff because it's kind of hard not to. This dude acts really weird. Anyways, I I don't know. We get along now. We're not friends, but we can set our differences aside because he's part of a few communities that I want to be part of. And then since we were both beefing, we both almost got banned, so we're kind of like ceasefiring for now. And then there's another guy called Dotty for a 9, I think. Yeah, Dotty 49. He's really chill. He's my friend. And then there was a guy called Chicken Nuggets. That's his YouTube username. I won't say his name that we call him by because I think it's his real name. He's also chill. But the other two, yeah, awkward. So we ended up getting into a disagreement because I kept on mocking this certain person who I shall not name, and they didn't like it. So they stopped speaking to me and Taco. And that's fine because me and Taco ended up going on Roblox and we met a really chill girl called Paedyn. Well, I met her and then I introduced Taco to her, but Taco made friends with like this Roblox studio community. And then I ended up going on Mic Up and I met a girl called Savvy or Savvy, don't know how to pronounce it. 3 a.m. ramen, Ghost Girl. No, not Ghost Girl. I think it's actually Ghost. I don't remember, bro. And I also met Paedyn. And me and Paedyn, we became real close. And then I introduced Taco to her. And then me, Taco, and Paedyn, we were like real tight. Savvy or Savvy, don't know how to pronounce it. She just went and did her own thing, which is fair enough. 3 a.m. ramen, I lost touch with him. And Ghost, or Ghost Girl, don't remember her name. We just stopped speaking. Some time went by, and then Taco and Paedyn were acting real weird with each other. And then instantly, I was like, do they like each other? So I asked Paedyn, she said, I'm not sure, which isn't a no. And then Taco, he was like, yes, I do, man. I'm going to be real with you. I fucking worked my magic, bro. And then within a week, Taco confessed his feelings to her. I think she was expecting it, not gonna lie. But she said, you're not like most guys that I talk to. And I'm like, oh, fuck, she rejecting him. And she's like, I guess that means I like you too. And I'm like, yo, no way. I should be fucking Cupid. I think I'd done something like this before. It feels familiar, but I don't know. It was probably years ago, but I swear I've gotten another two people together. To this day, they're actually still dating, I think. I don't know. Paedyn disappeared for a bit. And then she did return, but I don't actually know if they're still dating. Hope they are, because they're a real cute couple. Anyways, moving on. I ended up messaging... No. Fuck. I ended up messaging this individual again. And then I told her that I was sorry for, like, mocking this guy because they didn't want any drama. Sorry, my mic's tweaking out. It's had enough as well. I didn't realize they didn't want any drama, and I didn't realize it was causing drama. I thought this guy would just crash out and then move on. But it turns out that he would complain to them, and they were getting sick of it. And I didn't realize, so my bad. I was the bigger person. I took the blame. And yeah, she ended up... I'll put the DMs on screen. She ended up saying that it's fine, and she apologizes for the way she acted as well. And then she offered me to join the friend group again. For some stupid reason, I felt like she was dead ass. And then I was completely disregarding the fact that they went kind of weird with me midway through our first time being friends. Because I felt like they were treating me like this certain person, like making a secret group chat behind my back and making fun of me. But I don't know, I accepted. But me and Zushster and I ended up joining the friend group. Me and Taco, but he's called Zushster now. We ended up joining the friend group again. And then on day 3, one guy called Amper, who has nothing to do with this beef, by the way, he left the VC, and then this individual, she was alone in call with us, and then she ended up leaving too. She didn't even bother speaking to us. And then me and Zushter were in VC again, and then this individual and her boyfriend, the other individual that I kind of have beef with, he joined the VC too. When she left to go do something, and then she said she'd be back, he was like, okay. Then he left the VC. Like, none of them wanted to be alone in VC with me and Zushter, and Zushter picked up on that, and he was like, that's pretty strange. And I'm like, it's strange too, but maybe they have to go do something. I don't know. Maybe it was a coincidence. Sorry, my throat is getting real dry. Anyways, I thought Nah, it's a coincidence. It's chill. It's chill. And then Zushster was like, bro, if I were you, I would just watch it. I'd be careful. W friend for sticking up for me, bro. He was looking out for me. He told me to be cautious around those guys, and he was fucking right, bro. These guys were fake friends. They were fake as hell. They didn't actually like us. I don't even know why they brought us back into the friend group, because they sure as hell were not being friends. They were real weird with us, gang. Anyways, like, I don't know why they brought us in here to make fun of us. I don't know. So, I kind of got stressed out by that. I'm like, oh damn, they're playing me. They're playing me like a toy. What the fuck? So, I ended up becoming more distant, and I started speaking to Paedyn again, all of that. And then I got stressed out by something, and I felt like I needed to take a break from social media. And then my parents, they were kind of telling me to like lock in, stop speaking to my online friends. So I was like, do you know what? I quit social media because it was kind of in a crash out after an argument. So I childishly was like, I quit social media. And then I logged out of my Discord account and made another one to contact my real life friends for whenever we would play games. And then I logged into my main account and saw that my real life friends, they were sad that I quit. The others didn't even mention it, bro. So Nolan didn't mention it, Amper didn't mention it. Like, none of them actually, well, nobody except from Amper was like, oh, that's sad. I hope you're doing better, man. And then I was like, okay, how strange. Why do they not care that I quit? They're not even giving me a goodbye. And then I go onto my main Discord server to just see what they said, and everyone was like telling me how they'd miss me, and they used my server like normal. Zushster was in charge since I wasn't there. Everyone in there was sad. Then I was like, huh, how peculiar. I don't know how that word works, by the way. I don't know what it means. And then I log back in the day I decide to come back, because the day after I said I quit social media, I ended up changing it to I'm taking a break. So this is like a week later. I decide to come back because I feel at peace. I opened my third eye, if you will, So I took a break. I'm feeling spiritual as fuck. I'm happy. So I log back in. I go on to this person's Discord server. They changed my name to Attention Seeker. I'm like, what the fuck? I took a mental health break because I had an argument with my family, bro. And then I decided to take a break from social media to hear them out. And I missed you guys, so I came back. And you're calling me a fucking attention seeker. These guys were fake fucking friends. Why would you do that? I don't get it. I don't get it. So I, instead of crashing out, decided to sensibly leave the Discord server. And then I sent a DM to the like kind of main person of the friend group, the person who let me in, Screenshot provided, by the way. I decided to say to her, okay, it looks like Zushster was right. W Zushster for looking out, by the way. Zushster, I appreciate you, man. So he looked out for me, told me to keep an eye on these guys because they're kind of dodgy. He was right. I put my hands up. You're right, Zushster. I'm sorry. So she sends a picture of her favorite Fortnite skin and blocks me. And then I'm like, okay, fair. Then her boyfriend straight up just calls me the fucking N-word, sends a picture of Jesus Christ on a cross, and then I just say mental. Screenshot provided, by the way. I don't know what to say, man. Like, okay. Just kind of proves that you guys were being total twats and just, I don't know, using me for your entertainment or something. They were probably making fun of me. The thing is, after our first time being friends, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got a life at that point. I ended up fucking skateboarding, going outdoors a lot, going off social media a bit. I mean, a bit more. Like, I was going outside a lot, and then I don't know why they were making fun of me because I straight up had a glow up in those 2 months of not speaking to them. Okay, enough of the self glaze. I became a skater emo boy. Fantastic. And I go outside. Fantastic. So, I don't know what reason they really had to make fun of me for. Maybe like, haha, this guy goes outside. Haha, we're just SFM YouTubers with no life. Sorry, I should probably not spit out petty comments. But I just don't understand why they treated me like that. But I guess we'll never find out. So, I don't know, I felt a bit betrayed. Felt real sad, you know? Kind of bummed out, like, why the fuck treat me like this? Hello? So, me and Zushster were kind of stumped. We didn't know what to do. We ended up talking to, Duchess. And then Bojo, he would talk to us from here and there. And then Decarp joined the friend group. Alf started speaking to my online friends. One of my friends, Lobotomy, who I met in 2020 in my new school. Oh yeah, I met Balf as well in 2020. He joined my online friend group. And it is Jeremy and Climothy. They didn't really talk. Jeremy is one of my friends from since I was 5, actually. I never met Climothy because I didn't talk to the other side of my year group until I was 6. So yeah, Climothy and Jeremy put up with my shit for most of their lives now, which is crazy. Yeah, so Lobotomy, Jeremy, Climothy, and Balf are the only ones from our friend group who are really online people. The other two, Mr. Snoopy Pants, who I feature on my vlog channel a lot, and then the other friend who has literally no names that I can call them by. They're not really as online as us, if that makes sense. Well, the other friend who I said I can't call him anything, he's actually called the Cheese Man or something on Discord, and he played my Minecraft server with my online friends, but that's about the only interaction he's had with them. So all of my real life friends have had some sort of interaction with my online friends, but Balf and Lobotomy are the ones who speak to them the most. W Bal. Yeah, so that was kind of my online friend group. Lobotomy would come in here and there, so would Balf. But it was mainly me, Zushster, Paedyn, uh, Bojo, Duchess, and Decart, and then also SCP. And then I ended up going on Mic Up again. And then this is when I met 2 new people, Negative and Ghosty. And then once I met them, they were pretty chill. Ghosty was with a person called Angel. Like, you know, he was best friends with Ghosty. And then he just randomly disappeared. Like, I'm talking last week. He just randomly disappeared. So Ghosty had no one to speak to, so she ended up becoming real tight with me and my friend group so fucking fast, bro. So yeah, we're now all caught up. And Negative, she was real chill, but she doesn't have Discord, so I have to catch her online on Roblox sometimes. But yeah, she's pretty nice. So my friend group now consists of fucking me, Decart, Duchess, Lobotomy, Dottie, Pyroman. I don't really speak to Dottie or Pyroman. They're just kind of in the group sometimes. Savvy, Balf, Bojo. Oh, I forgot to mention, Evil Seagull, I'll just call him by, is SCP's best friend. Kind of met him at the same time as him. Yeah, Evil Seagull, Toppy comes in every so often. Princess talks to us sometimes. We have SCP. Sausage Roll came back, actually. He came back 2 weeks ago. He's actually real chill. And Zushster, Paedyn, Sleepy, and Ghosty. Those are all the people who I speak to now. It's crazy. People come and go. And to those fake friends who stopped speaking to me around 2-3 weeks ago, I probably should have heard you guys out a bit more. Maybe I jumped at conclusions too fast. Maybe you guys genuinely wanted to be friends with me because after our first time being friends, before I started speaking to you guys again, you kept me added. But then after I called you guys out for being fake, you unadded me. Maybe, oh, no, not fuck. Maybe this individual, she actually wanted to be friends with us, but I have a feeling her boyfriend doesn't really like me, so maybe he changed my name to that. I don't know. If they actually want to be friends with me, then maybe they're just kind of quirky, weird. I don't know. Maybe they just act differently from how most people I spoke to act, you know? I don't know. I really don't know, but the vibes that they gave me, they didn't actually care about me. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I have a feeling these people didn't actually care for me and Zushter. They just used us for their entertainment. You guys, you maybe thought that, I don't know, I will have no one to speak to after that. Maybe you guys thought you won, but nah, I just discovered who my true friends were. And that's good. So, yeah. I'm sorry about that hour-long yap. I just felt like I should give you guys a history of my online life, you know? So, yeah, if you guys sat through all that, then thank you. Maybe you put it on in the background and listen to it, which is what I usually do to videos like that. You know, I just hear their life story while sitting there animating or whatever. Yeah, I hope I provided you guys some entertainment, some background noise, and yeah, thank you for watching and thank you for being there for me. I really appreciate you guys. Goodbye and have a good day, evening, night. I don't fucking know. Later, chat.